Hi everyone, Dennis from BRobota is here. If you ever wanted to use ROS like a pro, then this is a video for you. In ROS for Pro series, we show you which tools we use at BRobotized and how we profit from them. In the previous two videos, we have introduced our internal tool called ROS Team Workspace, or short RTW, and also show you how you can set it up on your computer. In this video, we will show you how we use it for managing workspaces data native on your computer, and there are two ways of setting them up. First way is creating empty workspace where you manually pull then repositories you want to compile, and second option is to pull immediately your repository that has .repos file in it, and all the dependencies are pulled, which is very cool. When you are having development environment that has many dependencies, you can basically set it up with one command, and this is very useful in our development projects. So let's start with an empty workspace. So as always, we start with the documentation of ROS Team Workspace and an empty terminal. From here, from the output, I know already that RTW is set, but you can always check it. If it's set, basically writing RTW, pressing 2x tab, then you should see the commands, auto-completion commands, then you know, okay, things are working as expected. And now let's go to tutorials, quick start, and let's start an empty workspace, local empty workspace as said here. So we will then just change the version here. You have to set the version that you need, and my first empty workspace, let's call it. And then we press enter. Then you will be asked for your password. And why you will be asked for your password? Because sudo apt-get update is started in the background. This basically updates Ubuntu repositories, the packages, doesn't upgrade your system, but only updates the references to the packages. And this is important if you are later using ROSDEP install and similar tools, then those packages references are updated to the correct versions. So now you write here your password. You will have to, and then we also automatically use ROSDEP update. We run this always, being the empty workspace or non-empty workspace. For non-empty workspace, this is more important because then ROSDEP dependencies are installed. And in this case, it's less important, still very useful to keep this thing up to date, because then sometimes you are wondering why your ROSDEP command is not working. This is because the references in behind or mapping between package name and exact version and exact apt package are not connected. And now we can enter our workspace. So we see here file is updated. We have new workspace called my first empty workspace. Auto-completion helps you there. And when we now have checked out the workspace using RTW, then we see this here label, and it's in red. Why it's in red? Because we are not in the folder where the workspace is set up. So this is very useful when you have multiple workspaces. For example, let me show you. When you have sorry, wrong command. So ROSDS, it's basically ROS directory source. So we always use here short version of the directory, because if we have full path, then is this too long? And then doesn't matter in which workspace you are, you will see only source. But then you are not sure in which workspace you are maybe editing files, copying files, and so on. Oftentimes you can end up having two very similar workspaces with a bit different software versions. And this is then actually very useful to see, okay, I'm now in the right workspace, in the right folder, on the right workspace where I want to do it, and then there is no confusion. And now let's pull ROS2 control demos package. Just an example. Okay, we have pulled it. Now, since we are doing this manually, I recommend you also to, of course, check our aliases here under use cases, RTW aliases, because we want to make sure that all the dependencies are installed. ROSDEP prep is basically executed now when we were setting up the workspace, so we don't have to run it now, but usually when you when you are pulling new packages and so on, you want to execute it from time to time to get your references updated, as explained before. And here we have ROS depi. It's basically runs ROSDEP install, runs exactly here command on your workspace. Here is the advantage: you can run it from any folder you are, as long as you have your workspace basically checked out with RTW. And also the command is very long, and it is annoying to writing it 100 times, and this ROSDEP is then much easier. We have here all the dependencies are installed, and now we want to compile simply complete workspace. Then we will just run cb without any arguments. This basically runs colcom build, symlink install, cmake arguments, also release with deb info. This is basically from our experience is a good advantage to have debugging symbols still in your executable, but still have them as release that are relatively simple. And also there you can define also individual packages. If you want to only run a specific package, we now want to run the whole workspace because it's not so big. So we can just wait shortly to get this completely compiled. And also, since I'm already on this website regarding aliases, you can also check other aliases. Very useful is one cb up, basically that builds all the packages that you have in your workspace that are dependencies of that specific package that you want to compile. Okay, now we have everything compiled. Now we have to, of course, source everything again. The easiest thing is to do this is RTW vs my first workspace again. And then we can already start everything. So let's just start one example: ROS2 launch, ROS2 control demo, example 1. Let's start simply example 1, and let me see what is the name of the launch file. Is ROS2 control demo example 1 XML. Sorry. No, of course this is not. We will run RRBot launchpy. Sorry for that. Okay, now we are running. Now the RVs should pop up with our RRBot. Let's just make this window smaller. So you see here our RRBot from ROS2 control. Let me switch back to our terminal. And let's now add a new tab here. And now we basically, for example, want to send command to this. Then again, it's very useful to hit RTW because I can immediately source my workspace. You see automatically I'm in the source folder, and then I can just run ROS2 control list controllers. This is now a trick regarding ROS2 control because I'm not sure which controllers are running. So I want to check, okay, forward position controller, because they are always in examples multiple controllers, just to make sure. ROS2 control demo example 1. And then what we do, test forward position controller. Then we execute it, and now every 5 seconds we should here get some movement of the RRBot. You see there is RRBot movement. It's of course dynamic movement and so on. Okay, these are details regarding ROS2 control, not so relevant for it, but this is basically what we wanted to achieve, and this is how you have set up your workspace, how you can simply use it in another environments. Now let's go on the second option where we set up a workspace using .repos files. For that, we will open again a new terminal. And let's check then CLI commands, because I will simply use, because of simplicity, our test example that we use for this. So I will just copy this command. Of course, we don't want to run Docker, so we will have to change this. We will also call it my first repos, yes. And also we want to run ROS2 rolling. sorry. And we want to remove the Docker. Okay, and now you basically can define repos that contains repository URL and so on, and branch. And what is important, I have it already here opened. What is here important to see is that we need the .repos files. They have the same name. They have also version name where all the dependencies are defined. So basically here we have dependencies defined that gets dummy main package. So we will get one dependency here, and there are also upstream dependencies. This concept of upstream, non-upstream dependencies is a bit more complex. I will explain in one of the follow-up videos. We use it across our repositories, but basically it's important for you to know that you need to have at least one of those files. The best is anyway to have two, and I will explain you then why. But for now, if you want to use this, just set up the rolling repo, Kiltouch repo, Jazzy repo, whatever, and then this thing will work for you. So now let's just execute this. So now again, it wants to check dependency. I have new terminal. That's why I'm here in the had to enter password again. Now we are again executing ROS dep update, and in this case this is quite important because then ROS dep install will be also installed. You see, for example, here Python 3 pyasync is installed because it's defined as dependency. And now we are building all the packages. So we have, you can see, we have built our main package, should be somewhere here. Nevertheless, I see, we have built upstream package first, then main package, and then demo package. Of course, because this is how our dependencies are working. And now we have set up already our workspace, and we can start using it. That's the cool thing. RTV vs my first repos workspace. And now you see why those labels are useful in reality, because we are again in the source folder, but we are actually in the wrong workspace of the source folder. So now we will just jump into our workspace, and then everything is there. Since those packages are dummy, there is nothing to start there. Nevertheless, it's important to show, okay, they're compiled, all the dependencies are pulled as you would expect them, and then you can basically just start enjoying your setup. The same thing works also, for example, on ROS to control demos. Nevertheless, dependency list is big, and then you end up with a lot of compilation time. So I'm not showing you here in the videos, but basically on ROS to controls, on ROS to control demos, there is the same concept that you can see here. There are no these upstream repositories because they are less relevant for here. But for example, you have rolling repositories, and then you can pull all of this, and then all of this get builded, but the whole ROS to control gets built, and then this takes some time, especially here I'm on the virtual machine. That's why it takes a bit even longer. So thank you very much for checking this video. I hope you have enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you like those kind of videos, if you like to get updated, to learn some tips and tricks that we are using at Be Robotized. Comment below if you have something to add, if you like or maybe don't like something, or if you have any improvements. We are also looking forward to see you on our repository with comments on anything, with contributions. That would be great, because this tool is made from developers to developers. It already has a long years of usage, and I know that every company has their own tool, and I think we should put ends to it and start basically building such tools, and then later integrate into ROS, because this will make life of all of us much, much easier. So thank you for watching, and see you next time.